Sure, thank you for coming.
You see? No, it's not. It's I don't see. You don't have long ones. Long. Like this is. It's just that it's a bit far from here.
Stand by, China. Stand by.
No, aqui se colocar, aí eu vou fazer tipo no aqui mole com nada. Amarchota manager. What you choose? I never said about it.
Yes. 2. Yeah, hey. Hey. 1, 2, 3. Yes. 1, 2, hey. Yeah. 1, 2. 2, hey, hey. Hello, hey, hey. 2, 2, 2, yes. Hey, 1, 2. Check 1, 2. My chest. My check 1, 2. Yes, hey. 1, 2. Hey, hey. Yes. Hey, 1, 2. Check mic. Mic check. 1, 2. Yes, hey. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey. Check 2. Hey, 1, 2. Hey, Tabang, Usala, testing mic. 1, 2. What? I got a bonus. Yeah. Just take 1, 2. 1, 2. Hey, hey. Yeah. Yes, hey. 1, 2. Yeah, hey. 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Hey. 1, 2. Hey, hey. Check mic, testing. 1, 2. Yes. Hey, hey. Nice. Yeah, hey. 1, 2.
Está bom?
Tá ótimo. Obrigado. Thank you.
Obrigado, muito
Obrigado.
You find five colleagues standing there for us.
Yeah, okay.
Five colleagues standing there.
Come, let's stand. The BRICS.
Until we know again.
Olha o tamanho da fera.
Yeah, never let one. Is it?
Yes. Hello. Big check a hand,
Yeah.
please. Okay. Thank you. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You feel the sour.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Not for circulation, eh?
Yes.
For publication.
Aquele cara com esse nome, tá? Aquele que tá sendo o cara dele. Ele fala, é duro comigo, ficando hoje.
从那个门出来，然后放那个。
哦，谢谢。
So when they come out, you just say, oh, no. Yeah, that's it.
Aqui? Agora? Ele já fez a botou. My friend. Yes. My friend. Long time.
Yeah.
Long time. More or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
Vai ignora.
Next time do not allow.
Okay. Vamos a los más.
Agora, diversas ramais. A imprensa chegou aqui para fazer a foto oficial. Já a gente vai ter a foto oficial aqui com os presidentes do Brasil, China, África do Sul, Índia e Rússia.
मतलब एक बार उधर से दोनों साथ में उनको ले जाके वापस ले गया मिलिट्री की वजह से साथ में
Não vai encostar mais.
Remember they have to hold hands at some point.
Are you going to direct it?
We're two capable leaders here.
I think you're fine standing. If you sit down, the flag, the pen is going to hold down. Yeah, so that's why I must stand here.
But also,
Yeah.
guys, mind
No,
the
I put
live
my
camera.
colleague here as well.
This camera is
I put this one
live.
standing as well. Yeah.
Host
So
broadcast
I'm fine, but I think we're
all
like
the
fine
nations,
standing.
all the
The flag
broadcasters
will
around the
work.
world.
If you sit, the president of China and the prime minister of Russia, they're gonna, the heads are going to go up.
We tried our best.
This one comes.
Hold on this thing.
I know.
Man.
Yeah?
After 5 years, we'll get it right when you host again.
It's short.
Colleagues,
You'll be this.
after this picture, we're going
If I
to
stand here,
facilitate you to the plenary. Okay? But we're going to allow our principals to
This is my friend.
vacate the room.
Another friend.
Good. Good.
That's
And
good.
then, is the space? Sorry, you're going to stand here. Are you sitting down?
I'll sit.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, we have enough space. Yeah. No, it's fine. Then he goes to the page, because I must direct.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. How are you? I'm good. Welcome. I always have good time in your country, so must try and Right, I want to come to Fortaleza.
Fortaleza. Sim.
You want to sit?
Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm doing video, not photo. For me, it's better this in the program. It's like firing. But we have an option to do silent also. Já manda isso aqui na marca. Eu tenho muita facilidade de filmar.
nessas horas, é difícil você optar por uma coisa ou outra. Exatamente, é isso que eu faço também. Deixa eu ver que a máquina, eu consigo fazer as duas coisas com movimento. Fala pra ela que eu estou mandando um vídeo de cumprimento. Tem a agenda. Estou mandando em alta no grupo do Instagram. Um negócio que eles fizeram essa foto anteriormente, vamos fazer hoje de novo. Foi um erro ter deixado de fazer essa foto anteriormente. Você vai fazer a mesma foto agora. Para e pensa. E lá estava mais bonito que aqui. Um erro. É uma coisa que a gente tem que... a foto oficial. Poderia ter feito essa foto hoje e ontem. É a mesma foto. Tomara que a gente está muito bem organizado, graças a Deus. Conseguindo fazer foto, a gente está chegando antes. Eles estão bem organizados com isso. Só a foto. Eu acho. A foto.
开了门就是，现在就是在这坐着呢。大范围的没让过来，他说一会儿照常说明，咱们先到小范围进去，然后领导再进。他先刚这么说的，这跟讲，不，先休息室休息。开场。
solo felletseng phakathi
Okay.
Microphone check 1, 2. I'm going to call Hafiz. I'm going to call you on your cell phone. Just check if you've got audio in the interpretation booth. Yes, Hafiz, I'm talking. Can you hear me in interpretation? Now I'm listening. Can you hear me? Okay. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Hayden, do that camera cut. Okay, cool. Hayden. Hayden. Camera cut. Hayden. Hayden is not doing his camera cut to my mic.
Camera cut to his mic.
There must be more wakey there.
Yeah, no, he was.
And can you hear me on the powered speaker there?
Just give me a second. Say again.
Can you hear me on the speaker?
You just keep talking.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so much check your video signal to your interpretation booths when you're done with this. Hello, hello. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I know Amory can hear me on his side, so Amory, can you please make sure your routing is correct? We need to go to SABC, unlock.
He needs to send it to me as well because I'm not
Yeah,
getting it on
okay. Can you, let's get him onto that call. Just give me a second. Are you hearing me there in your room? Okay, can Amory please send this to the little speaker by Hafiz? Or where is that audio going to? Oh. Okay, cool. I will check with Hafiz if he's getting it. And then also, he needs to unlock SABC. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Testing English. This is the English channel. Testing English. 1, 2, 3. This is English. Test. Thank you.
Presidente, bom dia.
O presidente estendeu
As mãos.
Can we please hold
Presidente, as
hands?
mãos aqui.
Hold
Aí.
hands.
Aqui, presidente.
Oh.
Aqui, presidente. Aqui, presidente Lula. Aqui, presidente.
Thank you.
Aí.
Can you please ask you to, Mr. President?
Presidente, presidente. Com as mãos. Com as mãos. A mão.
The hands? Yeah.
As mãos, as mãos, presidente.
Yeah.
A outra mão, presidente, as duas. Aí.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Английский канал, английский канал, английский канал. Мгм.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. And welcome you all. Your Excellency President Lula da Silva, President of the Republic of Brazil, Your Excellency President Vladimir Putin, Your Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Your Excellency President Xi Jinping, Your Excellency Deputy President Paul Mashatile, Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Your Excellency Dilma Rousseff, President of the New Development Bank, Chair of the BRICS Business Council, Ms. Busi Mabuza, Chair of the BRICS Women's Business Alliance, Ms. Lebogang Zulu, Honorable Ministers and all guests here present, members of the diplomatic corps who are here with us, I'd like to welcome you all to South Africa and to the 15th BRICS Summit. This is the open session of our summit, so it's a pleasure and a joy to have all of you here. The BRICS partnership straddles 4 continents and 5 countries that are home to almost 3.5 billion people who live on this planet. Over the past decades, the bloc has been a major driver of global growth, of global trade and investment as well. BRICS stands for solidarity and for progress. BRICS stands for inclusivity and for a more equitable order. BRICS also stands for sustainable development. We are an inclusive formation of developing and emerging economies that are seeking to work together to benefit from our rich histories, our rich cultures, and systems to advance the prosperity of the peoples of our countries. We do so because we know that poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment are the biggest challenges facing humanity. We are therefore determined that the BRICS partnership, which has been growing in importance and influence over the years, must be harnessed to drive an inclusive global economic recovery. Advancing the African agenda for us is a strategic priority as South Africa during its chairship of BRICS. It is for this reason that we have chosen as the theme for this year's summit, BRICS and Africa, a partnership for mutually accelerated growth, sustainability, and inclusive multilateralism. We welcome the ongoing engagement of BRICS countries with Africa in the spirit of partnership and mutual respect. We are pleased that all BRICS members, Brazil is re-engaging with the African continent in a meaningful way. Russia has always had really good and meaningful relations with African countries. China has chosen to assist and support Africa with its aspirations for development. And all of us, in the ways that we are involved and engaged, we want to be engaged with Africa. India continues to increase its engagement and its trade with Africa. So as the BRICS family, all of us as members, we are deeply invested and deeply engaged with Africa. Our objectives are reciprocal trade and investment. We want the goods and products and services from Africa to compete on an equal footing on the global economy. The African Continental Free Trade Area, once fully operational, will unlock the benefits of the continental market and generate mutually beneficial opportunities for both African and BRICS countries. As nations of the world confront the effects of climate change, we must ensure that the transition to a low-carbon, climate-resilient future is just, it must be fair, and it must be able to take into account the different circumstances that prevail in all countries. In line with this objective, BRICS nations need to advance the interests of the Global South and call for industrialized countries to honor their commitments to support climate actions by developing economic progress. The commitments of support that have been made, that have not yet been lived up to, need to be followed through. Peace and stability are preconditions for a better, more equitable world. We are deeply concerned about conflicts across the world that continue to cause a great deal of suffering and hardship to many people around the world. As South Africa, our position remains that diplomacy, dialogue, negotiation, and adherence to the principles of the United Nations Charter are necessary for the peaceful and just resolution of conflicts. We are concerned that global financial and payment systems are increasingly being used as instruments of geopolitical contestation. Global economic recovery relies on predictable global payment systems and the smooth operating of banking, supply chains, trade, tourism, as well as financial flows. We will continue discussions on practical measures to facilitate trade and investment flows through the increased use of local currencies. This is a matter we believe that further discussions need to take place, particularly amongst our finance ministers. The world is changing. New economic, political, social, and technological realities for greater cooperation between nations is essential. New realities call for a fundamental reform of the institutions of global governance so that they may be more representative and better able to respond to the challenges that confront humanity. While many believe that we should advance the interests of all people, we believe that, yes, as we advance them, the interests of the Global South, that we as BRICS want to be ready to advance are essential, and in this regard we want to collaborate more, to cooperate more with all countries that aspire to create a more inclusive international order. We are confident that this 15th BRICS Summit will advance the cause of common prosperity and progress. We are confident that this 15th BRICS summit will in the end enrich and inspire our work towards the achievement of a much more humane global community. This is what BRICS is all about. This is what BRICS is committed to achieving. It is a great honor for us as South Africa to have this opportunity to host this 15th BRICS summit and to have in our presence the BRICS members as they are represented here. And with those words, I open this session and then call upon one of the young leaders of our country who is also going to have an opportunity to give the words of welcome, but also to give the hope that young people in the BRICS countries hope to communicate to all of us. I call upon Ms. Asanda Luaka to speak to us. She is the chairperson of the Board of Directors of the National Youth Development Agency that seeks to advance the interests of young people in South Africa. Ms. Ayanda.
Thank you very much, Honorable President. Your Excellencies and the heads of states of the BRICS countries, ministers and deputy ministers present, members of the media, leaders of business, civil society and labor, young people. It gives me great pleasure to deliver a statement on behalf of young people to the BRICS Heads of State Summit. Young people make up a large proportion of the populations of each of our respective countries. Their voices and views are critical as we forge a post-pandemic society at the highest decision-making forums. I must recognize the efforts of the organizers in ensuring that young people are represented at this particular summit. Your Excellencies, from the 18th till the 20th of July, young people from BRICS countries converged in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal for the 9th BRICS Youth Summit and the first in person since the pandemic. The summit was convened under the theme, BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development, and Inclusive Multilateralism, to discuss the current state and future prospects for the development of youth cooperation in BRICS countries over a wide range of areas. As we have entered into the decade of action of the Sustainable Development Goals, we believe that BRICS countries in general, and young people in particular, should use their collective strengths to prioritize the development paradigm, using it as a guiding principle for our work as we continue intra-BRICS cooperation across areas such as trade, education, skills development and training, economic participation and transformation, health and well-being, and social cohesion. Your Excellencies, young people in their collective believe that youth are the present and the future, and our interactions as BRICS member states cannot and should not be limited to an annual summit, which is why at our 9th Youth Summit, we presented the draft framework for the establishment of a BRICS Youth Council, which will become the coordinating body for youth development between BRICS member countries and will join formations such as the BRICS Business Council, BRICS Women's Alliance, and the New Development Bank. More importantly, the Youth Council will be a historic achievement for young people across our BRICS member states. Since the summit, leaders of youth agencies have met on 3 occasions to consider the draft declaration and framework of the BRICS Youth Council, and we are pleased to inform this summit that we have reached consensus on the establishment of a Youth Council. This will allow us to ensure deeper and stronger collaboration amongst young people. We thus implore that this summit endorse our proposal for the establishment of the BRICS Youth Council in its final declaration, in ensuring that new pathways for positive change and innovation can be realized, and in doing so will further ensure that no young person amongst the BRICS member states gets left behind. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayanda Luaka, for bringing the youth voice in the BRICS summit. Your proposals indeed are very clear and comprehensive, and we will be responding to that. It now gives me pleasure to ask His Excellency President Luis Lula da Silva, President of the Federative Republic of Brazil, to take the floor.
My dear President of the Republic of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, my dear President Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, here represented by Foreign Affairs Minister Lavrov, my dear Prime Minister Modi of India, my dear Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, and my dear sister Dilma Rousseff, the CEO of the New Development Bank, State Ministers of Brazil that are in my delegation, Mauro Vieira of Foreign Affairs, Fernando Haddad, Finance Minister of Brazil, Aniele Franco for Racial Equality, Ambassador Celso Amorim, Special International Advisor of the President, and my dear wife, Janja. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Business Forum of the BRICS, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Women's Entrepreneur Alliance, and Madam Lula Zulu, representative of the Business Alliance of Women of BRICS, and the youth member, Asanda Luaka. Dear friends, it's with great joy to come back to Johannesburg, the city that was a very important stage of struggle against apartheid and that continues to inspire us to fight all forms of discrimination and inequality. The last time that I participated in this summit meeting, 2010, I had the honor to host in Brasilia, our capital, the heads of state and government of Russia, India, and China, besides South Africa, that participated as a candidate to become a member of the BRICS. Only 1 year after that meeting, we confirmed that South Africa would join the BRICS in the first expansion of our grouping. Its inclusion made that we could better reflect the new configuration of the world power. We left that meeting strengthened. Today we represent 41% of the world population, and we are responsible for 31% of the global GDP in terms of purchasing power parity. But we face a more complex scenario than when we met for the very first time. In few years, we went back from a benign multipolarity juncture to going back to an absolute mindset of Cold War and geopolitical competition. This is lack of the senses that generates great uncertainty and corrodes multilateralism. We know very well this path could take us. The world needs to understand the risks that are involved and which are unacceptable for humanity. The BRICS, we should say that all suffer the consequences of the war. The most vulnerable population in the developing countries are the ones that are hit more in an unproportional way. The Ukraine war shows the limitations of the UN Security Council. Many other conflicts and crises do not have the same attention. And the BRICS is a forum to discuss the main issues that affect peace and world security. We cannot bypass to treat the main conflict of today that is happening in Ukraine, that has global effects. Brazil has an historical position in the defense of the sovereignty and integrity of the territory and of all the principles that are followed by the UN. We believe that it is positive that a growing number of countries, amongst them the BRICS countries, also are engaged in direct contact with Moscow and with Kiev. We do not underestimate the difficulties to reach peace, and either we can be indifferent to the deaths and the destruction that increase every day. Brazil does not contemplate unilateral formulas for peace. We are ready to join efforts that we can effectively contribute for immediate ceasefire and a fair and everlasting peace. Everybody suffers with the consequences of the war. The most vulnerable population in the developing countries are the ones that are reached in an unproportional way. The Ukraine war shows the limitations of the UN Security Council. Many other conflicts and crises do not receive the due attention, even causing vast suffering for their peoples. Haitians, Yemenites, Syrians, Libyans, and Sudanese, and Palestinians all deserve to live in peace. It is unacceptable that global military spending in 1 year goes beyond $2 trillion, while the FAO says to us that 735 million people are in hunger every day in the world. The quest for peace is a collective obligation and an imperative for a fair development and sustainable development. The BRICS should act as a force for understanding and for cooperation. Our willingness is expressed in the contributions given by China, South Africa, and from my own country in all the endeavors to conflict resolution in Ukraine. There are many places while men go to war, the women are the ones that fight for conciliation. The valuation and the strengthening of the role of women in the resolution of conflicts will be more and more central for peace in the world. And more than that, the women's empowerment is a precondition for a full socio-economic development. And paraphrasing Thomas Sankara, a great Pan-African leader, which says, we cannot hope for a society where half of the population is silenced by male chauvinism and by discrimination in political participation and in the world of labor. Dear friends, the weakening of the global governance is also clear in the development agendas, in financing, and in the confrontation with climate change. When I came back to the presidency in Brazil, I was very sad to see that the implementation of the 2030 agenda is under risk in all the world. A recent report from the UN indicates that we're in a strong backwardness. We see the greatest increase of inequality between the countries in more than the last 3 decades. In 30% of the goals, we stagnated or we're going backwards. It's very difficult to fight climate change while many developing countries still have to deal with hunger, poverty, and other kinds of violence. The principle of common and shared responsibility but differentiated is something that is true till today. The major response for the carbon emissions that cause the climate change were those countries that made their industrial revolution and defeated predatory colonial extractivism. They have an historical debt with the planet Earth and with humanity. We need to value the Paris Agreement and the Climate Convention instead of outsourcing climate responsibilities for the global South. Brazil is recovering its protagonism on the environmental agenda. The coordination with other developing countries that carry tropical forests to act at the climate
change scopes and biodiversity scopes will be vital to give way to our interests. In the summit meeting in the Amazon rainforest that was held some days ago was a landmark for the necessary construction of a sustainable development model with more fairness. Our resources should not be exploited for the benefit of few, but valued and placed to service all, and above all, for the well-being of the local populations. And more than that, so that the promises that were already done by the rich countries should be fulfilled, climate financing and biodiversity should be truly new and additional in relationship to the traditional finances to development. We need an international financial system that, instead of feeding the inequalities, should help the medium and low-income countries to implement structural changes. This will only happen with an adequate representation of the Bretton Woods institutions and their climatic funds. Foreign indebtedness refrains sustainable development. It's inadmissible that the developing countries should be penalized with interest rates that are 8 times higher than the ones that are charged in the rich countries. It is necessary to increase liquidity, to enhance concessional financing, and last but not the least, the conditionalities. The trade multilateral system should be reactivated so it can come back and act as a tool for fair trade, predictable, equitable, and non-discriminatory. No one anymore remembers the development round of the WTO. The decarbonization of our economies should be followed by the job creation with dignity, industrialization, and green infrastructure and public services for all. Through the new development bank, we can offer our own alternatives for adequate financing that will attend or meet the needs of the global South. I'm sure that under the leadership of my sister Dilma Rousseff, the bank will manage to face these challenges. The creation of a common valid unit for our trade transactions and investments for the BRICS countries will increase our payment options and reduce our vulnerabilities. Presidents, today, and guests, today the BRICS are fully consolidated as a brand and as a political asset of strategic value. The participation of dozens of heads of government and state tomorrow in the enhanced session will represent an historical landmark. The interest of many countries to join the BRICS is the recognition of its growing relevance. And also, we will have Troika at the G20 as members of the BRICS in the period 2023. And so it's another opportunity for us to make advancement of the concerns of the global South with the inequalities and with sustainable development. That the momentum that motivated the creation of BRICS 15 years ago continue to inspire us in building a multipolar, fair, and inclusive international order. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Lula da Silva, for taking us down memory lane, particularly in relation to the composition of the BRICS family. You relate to us how, for instance, South Africa attended as a candidate member and thereafter was added to BRICS as a member, and that in itself strengthened the BRICS family. We once again stand at another momentous moment when more than 20 other countries are seeking to be part of the BRICS family, and I know that as BRICS leaders, you are discussing this matter and giving close attention to it. and you will need to make your decisions known. Your commitment to contribute to achieving a peaceful world, something that is appreciated, and your other views that you expressed are also most appreciated. The empowerment of women is something that has a great deal of resonance with most of us here, as are your views on climate change and how the resources of various countries should be used for the benefit of all. So thank you very much for your remarks in that regard. It is now my pleasure to ask President Vladimir Putin to have his moment to speak. He'll be participating through the virtual platform.
Thanks a lot. President Ramaphosa, distinguished President, distinguished Prime Minister Modi, President Xi, dear colleagues, at the outset, I would like to thank South African friends for what they have done during their presidency, during their chairmanship this year. The colleagues before me have already given positive assessment of the BRICS activities. And in general, certainly we share these assessments. Our group of 5 countries has rightly proved to be a credible entity on the global arena with ever-growing influence in global affairs. The strategic course of BRICS is aimed at the future, and it meets the aspirations of the main part of the international community, the so-called global majority. By acting in concert on the principles of equality, partnership, support, and account for each other's interests, we deal with the most pressing issues of global and regional agenda. The main important thing is that BRICS stands for a multipolar world order that is equitable and built on international law and the principles of the United Nations Charter, including respect for the right of every people to its own development path. Some countries promote their hegemony, exceptionality, and their policy of the ongoing colonialism and neocolonialism. I would like to note that the aspiration to preserve their hegemony in the world led to a dire crisis in Ukraine, at first with the help of Western countries. An anti-constitutional coup d'etat was carried out in this country. After that, those people who did not agree with this coup faced a war. A war was unleashed against them, a war of attrition, and it lasted for 8 years. Russia decided to support people that fight for their culture, for their traditions, for their language and their future. Our actions in Ukraine are guided by only one thing, to put an end to the war that was unleashed by the West against people in Donbass. We thank our colleagues within BRICS that take an active part in the attempts to put an end to this situation and to ensure just settlement by peaceful means. Dear colleagues, the main thing is that we unanimously stand for the shaping of a multipolar world order which is genuinely equitable and which is building on international law. The BRICS countries are building up their potential. As was said, the BRICS countries are home to over 3 billion persons, and their share in global GDP as per purchasing power parity of the so-called G7. Over the past decades, BRICS investment to global economy have doubled, and the cumulative export reached 20% of the overall indicator. We are successfully implementing the strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025. Namely, we are strengthening the bilateral cooperation on such areas as diversification of supply chains, de-dollarization and transfer to local currencies in our mutual settlements, digital economy, support for small and medium enterprises, just transfer of technologies, and naturally, the active part in these processes is played by business community. A great deal of effort is invested within the BRICS Business Council and the BRICS Women's Business Alliance. That the host of our meeting, President Ramaphosa, indicated, the leaders of these organizations are present at this meeting. An important priority for the BRICS interaction is the establishment of new sustainable, safe transport routes. In my address to the BRICS Business Forum, I talked about the importance of a speedy development of transcontinental routes, such as the North-South corridor, that would link Russian Northern Sea and Baltic ports to sea terminals in the Gulf and in the Indian Ocean. In the future, it would ensure the annual transit of up to 30 million tons of cargo. We believe that it is high time to establish a BRICS Permanent Commission on Transport that would deal not only with the North-South project, but in broader terms, it would deal with logistics and transport corridors development, both interregional and global ones. Should the partners agree to that, the Russian side could work on this idea within its chairmanship in 2024. And certainly, we welcome strengthened interaction within BRICS in terms of global innovations. We look forward to a more active cooperation within the BRICS Global Research Advanced Infrastructure Network. It could be supported and developed by the Special Trust Fund. For its part, Russia is ready to share its experience and best practices, including when it comes to digital transformation and the use of artificial intelligence. We also seek to actively participate in the implementation of the achieved arrangements on the establishment of the joint working group on nuclear medicine. We seek to swiftly switch into practice the work of the BRICS TVET Cooperation Alliance. We wholeheartedly support the proposal of South African colleagues to organize a separate ministerial on women affairs. Their role in political, economic and social life of our states should definitely be enhanced. Dear colleagues, next year, Russia will assume BRICS chairmanship. Our chairmanship will have the following mottos: strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. We plan to have some 200 political, economic and public events that will be hosted by over a dozen Russian cities. At the same time, the BRICS summit is scheduled for October 2024. It will take place in the city of Kazan. The specific dates will be agreed upon with colleagues by diplomatic channels. We'll also have events in the format that has proved its relevance. I'm talking about BRICS Plus and BRICS Outreach. During our chairmanship, we would like to do our utmost to efficiently facilitate the implementation of decisions adopted at this summit, including with regard to the expansion of BRICS. We will coordinate closely with partners on foreign policy matters. We will jointly work on key international platforms, primarily within the United Nations. We will continue regular meetings of BRICS national security advisors. Certainly, we will prioritize such urgent tasks as combating terrorism and the spread of terrorist ideology, as well as combating money laundering and return of assets gained by criminal means. By the way, we thank partners for their support within the Financial Action Task Force. We hope that we will keep such spirit of solidarity in the future. We will contribute to comprehensive implementation of the Strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025 and the development of new long-term guidelines for cooperation. This includes, in our view, increasing the role of states in international monetary and financial system, the development of interbank cooperation, expanding the use of local currencies and deepening interaction between tax, customs and anti-monopoly agencies. Naturally, Russian priorities include bolstered partnerships in science and innovation, healthcare, education, the development of humanitarian ties in general, cultural and civilizational diversity is one of the pillars of the new multiple world order, and it means the establishment of integral free space for cultural exchange, art and creativity. As we see it, it's high time for partners within BRICS, as well as the SCO and the Community of Independent States and other countries to have a serious conversation on the future of culture in the world, on preserving and multiplying global cultural heritage. By the way, such dialogue could be held within the 9th International Cultural Forum, which is scheduled to take place in the city of St. Petersburg from November 16th to 18th. And certainly, Russia will continue to contribute to contacts in sports and youth exchanges, namely in June 2024. We plan to have the BRICS Games. We would be happy to welcome teams from the BRICS nations at the next year's international competition, the Games of the Future. They will take place in the city of Kazan. This is a mix of dynamic sports and popular video games and technological devices. A good opportunity for contacts and friendly talks will be given by the World Youth Festival that will take place in March next year in the city of Sochi. In conclusion, let me once again highlight that Russia, during its chairmanship, will interact in the most constructive way with BRICS partners in order to further enhance the role and credibility of BRICS. Without any doubt, this credibility will only grow. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, President Putin, for your input in this regard. You're absolutely right that BRICS has proven itself to be a credible entity that acts in solidarity, that seeks to promote a more equitable global system. And we thank you also for the recognition of the efforts that are being made by a number of BRICS countries to bring about a peaceful end to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. We agree that in the end, this type of conflict is best brought about to an end by negotiation, which you have said you have always been ready for. The BRICS members will continue to be supportive of various efforts to bring this conflict to an end through dialogue, mediation, and negotiation. And thank you for your thoughts also about support that needs to be given to small, medium enterprises. That is appreciated. And the women empowerment process that needs to be enhanced. That too we truly appreciate. And you've made comments about the reform of international financial systems. That too is a matter that the BRICS needs to be seized with. And the BRICS leaders in retreat yesterday did talk about this, and an announcement in this regard will be finalized. And the cultural advancement culminating in the BRICS Games is something that also has a great deal of resonance amongst the BRICS leaders. So thank you very much indeed. It now gives me pleasure to ask the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, to take the podium. Prime Minister.
Excellency,
Rashtrapati Ramaphosa,
President Ramaphosa,
Excellency,
Excellency,
Lula da Silva,
President Lula da Silva,
Excellency Rashtrapati Putin,
Excellency President Putin,
Excellency Rashtrapati Xi,
Excellency President Xi,
ladies and gentlemen, 15वें ब्रिक्स समिट के भव्य आयोजन और हमारे आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए
and thanks
मैं प्रिय
once
मित्र
again
राष्ट्रपति रामाफोसा
to
को
my dear friend
एक बार फिर से
President Ramaphosa
बहुत-बहुत बधाई
for
देता
the
हूं।
wonderful arrangements made for the organization
जोहानिसबर्ग
of the
जैसे खूबसूरत शहर
15th
में
BRICS Summit and
एक
for
बार
his
फिर आना
hospitality. It is a
मेरे
great
और मेरे
pleasure
डेलीगेशन के लिए
for me.
अत्यंत खुशी का
grande
विषय है।
prazer para mim.
इस शहर का भारत के लोगों और भारत के इतिहास से पुराना गहरा संबंध है। यहां से कुछ दूर ही टॉल्स्टॉय फार्म है, जिसका निर्माण महात्मा गांधी ने
A short
110 वर्ष
distance
पहले
away from here is Tolstoy Farm that
भारत,
Mahatma Gandhi
यूरेशिया
built
और अफ्रीका
110
के
years
महान
ago.
विचारों को जोड़कर
By bringing together the great
महात्मा गांधी ने
philosophies of Eurasia
हमारी
and
एकता और
Africa,
आपसी
Mahatma
सौहार्द
Gandhi
की
laid a strong
मजबूत
foundation
नींव रखी थी।
for our unity and mutual
Excellencies,
harmony. Excellencies,
पिछले लगभग 2
the
दशकों
last
में
2 decades
ब्रिक्स ने
have been
एक बहुत ही
a
लंबी
long and
और शानदार यात्रा
magnificent journey for BRICS.
तय की है। इस यात्रा में
We
हमने
have had
अनेक
many
उपलब्धियां हासिल की।
achievements during this journey.
हमारा न्यू
Our
डेवलपमेंट
new
बैंक
development bank
ग्लोबल साउथ के
is
देशों के
playing
विकास में
an important role
महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका
in
निभा
the
रहा है।
development of the countries of the global south.
कंटीजेंसी रिजर्व
Through
अरेंजमेंट्स के
its
माध्यम से
contingency reserve
हमने
arrangement,
फाइनेंशियल
we
सेफ्टी
have
नेट का
created a
निर्माण
financial safety net
ब्रिक्स सैटेलाइट
through initiatives such as the BRICS satellite constellation, the vaccine R&D center, mutual recognition of pharma products. We are bringing about positive changes in the lives of ordinary citizens in BRICS countries. Through initiatives such as the Youth Summit, BRICS Games, the Think Tanks Council, we are strengthening people-to-people ties between all countries. In order to give the BRICS agenda new direction, India has given some suggestions, such as the Railway Research Network, the online BRICS database, close cooperation between MSMEs and a startup forum. I am pleased that significant progress has been made in all these areas. Excellencies, in order to further expand our close cooperation, I would like to place before you a few suggestions. The first is cooperation in the area of space.
BRICS satellite constellation
We have already
पर पहले
been
से काम कर रहे
working
हैं।
on a BRICS satellite
कदम आगे
constellation.
बढ़ाते हुए
Taking a step
हम BRICS
forward,
space
we
exploration
can think about
consortium बनाने
creating
पर
a BRICS space
विचार कर
exploration consortium.
इसके अंतर्गत
Under this,
हम space research,
we can work on
weather
areas
monitoring,
such as space
जैसे
research
क्षेत्रों में
and weather
global good
monitoring
के लिए
for
काम कर
global
सकते
good.
हैं। मेरा दूसरा सुझाव
My
है
second suggestion
शिक्षा,
is
skill
cooperation
development
in the areas
और
of
technology में
education,
सहयोग।
skill development and
BRICS को
technology.
एक future ready
In order
organization
to
बनाने
make
के लिए
BRICS a
हमें
future
अपनी
ready
society को
organization,
future
we
ready
must
बनाना
make
होगा।
our societies future ready.
इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी की अहम
Technology
भूमिका रहेगी।
can play an important role
भारत में हमने
in this regard.
दूर सुदूर तथा ग्रामीण
In
क्षेत्रों के
order
बच्चों
to provide access
और उनके
to
तक शिक्षा पहुंचाने के
education
लिए
for children
दीक्षा
living in remote
यानी
and
digital
rural
infrastructure
areas
for
in
knowledge
India,
sharing platform
we have
बनाया
created
है।
the Diksha platform,
साथ ही
that is
स्कूल
digital
के विद्यार्थियों के
infrastructure
बीच
for
innovation
knowledge
को बढ़ावा
sharing.
देने के लिए
At the same time,
हमने देश
in
भर में
order to promote
10,000
innovation
अटल
among
tinkering
school
lab
children,
बनाए।
we have created 10,000
भाषा
Atal
संबंधी
tinkering
बाधाओं को
labs
हटाने के
across
लिए
the country
भारत
in
में
order to remove
AI
language barriers.
language
An
platform
AI-based language
भाषिणी का
platform,
इस्तेमाल किया जा
Bhashini,
रहा है।
is being used.
वैक्सीनेशन के लिए
The
कोविन
CoWIN platform
बनाया गया।
has been made to manage
डिजिटल पब्लिक
vaccinations
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर
through our digital public
यानी इंडिया स्टैक के
infrastructure,
माध्यम
that
से
is the India
पब्लिक
stack.
सर्विस डिलीवरी को
Public service delivery
revolutionize
is
किया जा
being
रहा है।
revolutionized.
विविधता
Diversity
बहुत बड़ी ताकत
is one of India's greatest
भारत में किसी
strengths.
समस्या का हल
The solution
इस विविधता की
to
कसौटी
any
से
problem
निकलकर
found
आता
in
है।
India has withstood the
इसलिए
test of this
ये
diversity, and
विश्व
therefore
के किसी भी
these
कोने में
solutions
आसानी से
can
लागू हो
easily
सकते
be
हैं।
implemented
इस
in
संदर्भ
any
में
part of the world.
भारत में
In
विकसित
this regard,
इन सभी
we
प्लेटफॉर्म्स
will
को
be pleased to share
BRICS
with
partners के
BRICS
साथ
partners
साझा करने
all
में
these
हमें
platforms
खुशी होगी।
developed in India.
मेरा दूसरा सुझाव है
My third
कि
suggestion
एक दूसरे की
is
ताकतों की
that in
पहचान
order
करने के
to
लिए
identify each
हम
other's
मिलकर
strengths, we can carry out
मैपिंग
together
कर सकते हैं।
a skills mapping
इसके माध्यम
exercise.
से
Through
हम विकास
this,
यात्रा में
we can
एक
complement
दूसरे के
each other in
पूरक
the
बन सकते
development journey.
मेरा चौथा
My
सुझाव है
fourth suggestion
बिग कैट्स के संबंध
relates to big cats.
ब्रिक्स के पांचों देशों
In
में
all 5 BRICS
बड़ी
countries,
संख्या में
various
विभिन्न
species
प्रजातियों के
of
बिग
big
कैट्स
cats
पाए जाते
can be found in large numbers.
इंटरनेशनल बिग
Under
कैट अलायंस
the
के अंतर्गत
International Big Cat
हम इनके
Alliance,
संरक्षण के लिए
we can make
साझा
joint
प्रयास
efforts
कर सकते हैं।
for their protection.
मेरा पांचवा सुझाव
My
है
fifth suggestion
ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन को
relates
लेकर
to traditional
हम
medicine.
सभी देशों में
All our countries
ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन का
have
इकोसिस्टम है।
traditional medicine
क्या हम
ecosystems.
मिलकर
Can we together
ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन की
create
रिपोजिटरी
a
बना
repository
सकते हैं?
of traditional medicine? Excellencies,
दक्षिण अफ्रीका की अध्यक्षता में
under South Africa's
ग्लोबल साउथ के
presidency,
देशों को ब्रिक्स में
countries of the global
एक
south
महत्व विषय
have been given
दिया गया है।
special importance
हम
in
इसका हृदय से
BRICS.
स्वागत करते
We heartily welcome
हैं।
this.
यह वर्तमान समय की
This
मात्रा
is not just
अपेक्षा ही नहीं
an expectation
बल्कि जरूरत
of
भी
the
है।
present times, but a
भारत ने
necessity as well.
अपनी G20
Under its
अध्यक्षता में
G20
इस
presidency,
विषय को
India has
सर्वोच्च
given
प्राथमिकता
this
दी है।
subject the highest
One
priority.
earth,
Based
one family,
on our
one future.
core value,
इस
one
मूल
earth,
मंत्र पर हम
one family,
सभी
one
देशों के साथ
future,
मिलकर
we are making
बढ़ने का
efforts to move
प्रयास
forward
कर रहे हैं।
together with all countries.
इस वर्ष जनवरी में आयोजित
In the Voice
Voice
of
of
Global
Global
South
Summit में
Summit organized in
125
January
देशों ने
earlier
भाग
this
लिया
year,
और अपनी चिंताओं
125
और
countries
प्राथमिकताओं को
participated
साझा किया।
and shared their
हमने
concerns
अफ्रीकन यूनियन
and
को
priorities.
G20 की स्थायी
We have
सदस्यता देने
also
का प्रस्ताव भी
proposed permanent
रखा है।
membership for the African
मुझे
Union
विश्वास है
in the
कि
G20.
सभी ब्रिक्स पार्टनर्स
I am confident
G20 में भी
that all
साथ है
BRIC partners
और सभी
are also
हमारे
together
प्रस्ताव का
in the G20
समर्थन करेंगे।
and that all will
इन सभी
support
प्रयासों
our
को ब्रिक्स में
proposal,
भी विशेष स्थान दिए जाने
giving
से
a special
ग्लोबल
place
साउथ के देशों
to
को
all these
उनका
efforts within
आत्मबल
BRICS
और
as well,
बढ़ेगा।
will further boost the
Excellency,
morale of countries of
भारत
the global south.
ब्रिक्स की
Excellencies,
सदस्यता में
India fully supports the expansion of BRICS membership, and we welcome moving forward on this based on consensus. In 2016, during India's presidency, we had defined BRICS as a group building responsive, inclusive, and collective solutions. 7 years later, we can say that BRICS will be breaking barriers, revitalizing economies, inspiring innovation, creating opportunities, and shaping the future. Together with all BRICS partners, we will continue to contribute actively to make this new definition meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Modi, for your very insightful remarks. Would like to particularly thank you, South Africa, for reminding us of the journey that Mahatma Gandhi started here in South Africa and what he imparted to our forebears in South Africa in the modes of struggle. He was one who was strong on resistance. He taught us passive resistance, which he perfected, and we escalated to various acts of boycotts against the apartheid system. And through that, we were able to encourage citizen activism and organizations that were involved in our struggle, like the African National Congress and others, mobilized our people to fight against apartheid and finally to defeat it. So Mahatma Gandhi played a very important role in the history of South Africa. Thank you for reminding us. Would like to congratulate India, particularly as you speak about the need for cooperation in space. In a few hours, India's spacecraft Chandrayaan-3 will be landing on the moon. We congratulate you. This, for us as the BRICS family, is a momentous occasion, and we rejoice with you. We join you in the joy of this great achievement. But we also thank you for making the proposal that there should perhaps be a BRICS space cooperation system which can be looked at. It's a very forward-looking proposal. And your proposals on the development of skills is something that we appreciate and has great support amongst all of us. And thank you very much for also mentioning the issue about big cats. We were pleased as South Africa to donate cheetahs to India, and you informed me that the cheetahs arrived well and they are alive in India. And I told you that we are willing and prepared to donate even more, because you are a country that takes care of big cats. So we thank you for that. So should you need more cheetahs, you've come to the home of cheetahs. On the issue of traditional medicines repository, we have a very big community of people who are involved in traditional medicine here in South Africa. So we're willing to cooperate, and I'm sure the same obtains with all other members of BRICS. And this you will find great support for amongst all of us, to create a traditional medicines repository. So that would be good to heal all the ailments. We should not just continue being dependent on Western medicines. We should be also dependent on our own traditional medicines. We appreciate your focus on the Global South, and also for having had this meeting of 125 countries participating. The Global South should now continue to be our area of focus, and we appreciate that. We want to wish you well as you continue to prepare to host the G20 summit, at which you have invited us, and we will surely participate. And we are heartened to hear that India supports the expansion of BRICS. This is a matter that we are discussing, and hopefully we will find a clear solution to this matter as we discuss it amongst ourselves as BRICS leaders. So we thank you very much. My honor now to call on His Excellency President Xi Jinping to take the floor and address us. President Xi Jinping.
Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, Your Excellency, President Lula da Silva, Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, Your Excellency, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We gather at a time when the world is undergoing major shifts, division, and regrouping. It has entered a new period of turbulence and transformation. We, the BRICS countries, should always bear in mind our founding purpose of strengthening ourselves through unity, act on a strong sense of responsibility, enhance cooperation across the board, and promote high-quality development so as to bring to the world more certainty, stability, and positive energy. We should deepen business and financial cooperation to boost economic growth. Development is an inalienable right of all countries. It is not a privilege reserved for a few. The world economic recovery remains shaky, with less than 3% of growth for the year, as estimated by some international institutions. Challenges for developing countries are even more formidable, hampering their efforts to realize the sustainable development goals. We BRICS countries should be fellow companions on the journey of development and revitalization, and oppose decoupling and supply chain disruption, as well as economic coercion. We should focus on practical cooperation, particularly in such fields as digital economy, green development, and supply chain, and bolster economic, trade, and financial exchanges. China will set up a China BRICS Science and Innovation Incubation Park for the new era to support the deployment of innovation results. Under the BRICS Remote Sensing Satellite Constellation Mechanism, we will explore the establishment of a BRICS Global Remote Sensing Satellite Data and Application Cooperation Platform to provide data support for agriculture, ecological conservation, and disaster reduction in various countries.
中方愿同各方共建
China will also work
金
with
砖
all
国家
parties
可持续
to
产
jointly
业交流合
establish
作机
a
制，
BRICS framework on industrial
为落实
cooperation
联合
for
国
sustainable
2030
development.
年可
As
持
a
续发展
platform
议
of
程
industrial coordination
提
and
供产业
project
对接
cooperation
和
in
项目合
implementing
作
the
平台。
United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
我们要拓展政治安全合作，
We should expand political
维
and
护
security
和平
cooperation
安宁。
to uphold peace and tranquility.
当前，冷战思维
The Cold War
阴魂不
mentality
散，
is still haunting our world,
地缘政治形势严
and
峻。
the geopolitical situation is getting
金砖
tense.
国家要坚持和平发展的
BRICS
大方向，
countries should keep to the direction of
巩固
peaceful
金砖国
development
家战略伙伴关
and
系，
consolidate the BRICS strategic
要用
partnership.
好金砖国家
We need to make
外
good
长
use
会晤、
of the BRICS foreign ministers
安
meeting,
全事务高级代表会议
the
等
meeting
机
of
制，
high representatives on national security,
在
and
涉
other
及彼此核心
mechanisms.
利益的问题上
Support
相
each
互
other
支持，
on issues concerning our
就
respective
重大
core
国际和地区
interests
问题加强协调，
and enhance coordination on major international and
要
regional
积极
issues.
斡旋热点问题，
We need to tender good
推动
offices
政
on
治解
hotspot
决，
issues, pushing for
给
political
热点
settlement
问题
and lowering
降
the
温
temperature.
去火。人工智能是人类发展新领域，
Artificial intelligence
既
is
能
a
带
new
来巨
frontier
大发
of
展红
development.
利，也
It may
蕴含着
generate enormous
风险
development
挑战。
dividends, but also harbors
5国已
risks
经
and
同意
challenges.
尽快启动人
Our
工
five
智能
countries have
研究
agreed
组
to
工
launch
作，
the AI study group of BRICS
要充分
Institute
发
of
挥研究
Future
组作
Networks
用，
at an early date.
进一步拓展
We need to
人工
enable
智
the
能
study
合
group
作，
to play its
加
full
强
role,
信息交流
further
和
expand
技术合
cooperation
作
on，AI, and step up
共
information
同做好
exchange
风
and
险
technological
防范，
cooperation. We
推
need to
动建
jointly
立普
fend
遍
off
参与
risks
的
and
国际机
develop
制，
AI governance frameworks, and
形成
standards
具有
with
广泛
broad-based
共识
consensus.
的人工智能治理框架和标准规范，
So as to
不断提升人工
make
智能技
AI
术的
technologies
安全性、
more
可
secure,
靠性、可控
reliable,
性、公平
controllable,
性。
and equitable.
我们要加强人文交流，促
We
进
should
文明
increase
互鉴。
people-to-people exchanges and
文
promote
明多彩多
mutual
姿，
learning between civilizations.
发展道路多
There are
元
many
多样，
civilizations and development
这
paths
是
in
世
the
界
world,
应有的样子
and。this is how the world should be.
人类历史不会终结
Human
于一
history
种文
will not
明。
end with
一种
a
制度。
particular civilization or system.
金砖国家要弘扬海纳百川的精
BRICS
神，
countries need to champion the
倡
spirit
导不
of
同和平共
inclusiveness
处、文
and
明和平
advocate
共处，
peaceful coexistence
和
and
和
harmony
共生。
between civilizations.
要尊重各国自主选择的
We
现
should
代化
respect
道路，
all modernization
反
paths
对
that each
意识
country
形态对立、
chooses on its own,
制度对
and
抗、
oppose ideological rivalry,
文明冲突。
systemic confrontation, and clash of civilizations.
要用好金砖国家治国理政研讨
We
会、
need to make good use of such
人文交
mechanisms
流论
as
坛
the、BRICS seminar on governance,
女性创新
the
大
BRICS
赛等
forum
机
on
制，
people-to-people and culture exchanges,
深化人
and
文
the
交流
women，innovation
增进
contest, to
民
deepen
心相通。
people-to-people exchanges and strengthen the bond between our
中方
peoples.
提议，
China would like
金
to
砖国家
propose
拓展教
that
育领
BRICS
域合作
countries，expand cooperation on
发挥
education,
好职业教育联
enhance the
盟作
role
用，
of the BRICS alliance for
探索
vocational
建立
education,
数字教育合作机
explore
制，
and set up a cooperation
打造
mechanism
全
on
方位
digital education,
教育合作格局，
and foster a paradigm of all-round cooperation
同
on
时加
education.
强传统文化交
In
流，
addition, we also need to
促
strengthen
进优秀
exchanges
传
of
统文
traditional
化
cultures
传承和
and
创新。
promote the renewal of the fine traditional cultures.
我们要坚持公平正义，
We should
完
uphold
善全
fairness
球治
and
理，
justice and improve global governance.
加强全球治理是国际社会共享发展机遇，
Strengthening global governance
应对
is the
全
right
球性
choice
挑战的
if the international
正确
community
选
intends to
择。
share development opportunities and tackle
国际
global
规则
challenges. 要依据联合国宪章宗旨的原则，由大家共同书写、共同维护，不能谁的胳膊粗、嗓门大，谁就说了算，更不能拉帮结派，把自己的家法帮规包装成国际规则。金砖国家要践行真正的多边主义，坚持团结，反对分裂，维护以联合国为核心的国际体系，支持并加强以世贸组织为核心的多边贸易体制，反对小圈子、小集团，要充分发挥新开发银行的作用，推动国际金融货币体系改革，提升发展中国家的代表性和发言权。我高兴地看到，发展中国家参与金砖合作的热情高涨。很多发展中国家申请加入金砖合作机制，我们要用好金砖加合作，加速扩员进程，让更多国家加入到金砖大家庭，积众志，汇群力，推动全球治理朝着更加公正合理的方向发展。各位同事，中国古人说，谋度于义者必得，事因于民者必成。金砖事业秉持国际道义，造福我国人民，必将行稳致远，为促进世界和平和发展做出更大的贡献。我说完了，谢谢大家。
Thank you.
Thank you, President Xi Jinping, for those insightful words. Yes, indeed, the world has entered a new period of turbulence. And you call upon BRICS to play an important role, notwithstanding this turbulence that the world is going through, and that the BRICS family should remain united, but more importantly should be ready to play a key role in helping to stabilize the world. And you mentioned a very important point about development, that it is not a privilege of a few. Development should be spread around so that all can benefit. And you mentioned a number of areas in which there should be development: in science, technological advancement, in innovation. And we thank you also for the offer to set up a BRICS remote data center that will help to advance the technological and innovative capability of BRICS countries, as well as developing a framework for implementing the SDGs. We thank you for that. And much as you say, the Cold War mentality continues to haunt the world, that the BRICS countries should stand on the side of peace. I think we support that, and we support the message you put forward that we should support each other on our core interests, the areas that each one of us in BRICS focus on. And artificial intelligence is a new frontier that we need to focus on, but we should also have governance of artificial intelligence, and it should be reliable and secure. And another important aspect is the people-to-people contact that we should underpin our unity in the BRICS around, and that there should be respect for the modernization paths that countries have opted for. So we thank you for that. And there should not be ideological competition. This is the calling card for BRICS countries. Empowerment of women, and also must promote traditional cultures. That too, we should say we appreciate. And yes, President Xi, you are in full support of the expansion of BRICS, as has been articulated by all BRICS members, that we stand at the cusp of expanding the BRICS family, because it is through this expansion that we will be able to have a much stronger BRICS in these turbulent times that we live in. So we await the decision that will be taken by the BRICS leaders in this regard in due course as we go on with our summit. We've now reached a stage where we now want to give the media an opportunity, as they often ask for, that once they've done quite a bit of work, they want to go and rest. So we want to give the media an opportunity to go and rest. I don't know what they do when they go to rest, whether they have a siesta, or whether they go and have tea, but we want to give them that opportunity. But they can be rest assured we will continue with our work because we are committed to doing so. We are mindful of their wishes and their interests, so we will pause for a while and give them an opportunity to leave us, to go and rest, and then we will continue with our meeting. So we pause just for a while to allow the media to go and do what they do best when they have an opportunity to be resting. So media people, thank you very much for being here. You may take your leave.